Hey, it's Wellness Wednesday. Hey, Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday. Hey, I don't know why I enjoy doing that. Like, it literally brings me joy. Great day, loves. It is Wellness Wednesday. If you guys have been following my journey, you know I have moved back home, honey. Woo child. So I am bringing you lessons from home today. And I have settled into the fact that I'm here. I am actually really loving it. But it's really bringing a lot of lessons to me. And I am glad that I'm in the space to be open and willing for them because it could be a fight, but it's not. And so I wanted to talk today about your environment and your health. And if I'm not mistaken, I've talked about this before. If not here, I've definitely talked about it on my IG. But it was in a situation that I was coming from in a manner where I literally had control over my environment. So I'm like, I always believe environment's important. Um, but I think coming into an environment that's not mine has taught me deeper lessons. Deeper lessons of environment. So if you can't hear, I have actually gotten sick. And I've gotten sick for the first time in probably about 4 or 5 years. Excuse me. Since I switched my lifestyle, um, I don't know when I stopped getting sick, but I know it was closely after I let go of dairy. And because thank God, when I switched over to a plant based lifestyle, impossible meat and beyond meat and like fake vegan cheese and sour cream, they weren't things yet. And so when I let go of meat and I let go of dairy, I just went to vegetables. It was like, a lot of the fake stuff that was around was like tofu. And I don't know, me and tofu just never really got along, except for when Asians make it. Like Asians, I don't know why, but they just know how to treat tofu. And I'd be like, ooh, is that crispy on the outside? Because I likes that. Anyway, so in this journey, I have been so blessed to not get sick anymore. And I have had like, scratches in my throat or like sneezing from the pollen. But because my immune system was at a high state, I could like do things really quick to remedy what was going on and then I'd be fine. Well, I just moved back home to my mom's house, and y'all, my mom is the cat lady, okay? Like, she loves herself some cats. All of my family, well, no, all of my mom and her sisters, okay, they love cats. And I will say, I'm not a cat person. Well, okay, I don't mind cats, but I just don't believe that animals should be in your environment. I don't care what you do. If you got dogs in your bed and stuff, that's on you. But I'm just saying for me and my life, I don't believe that pets and inside go together. So, I'm living in the house with 3 cats, y'all. And situations were going on in the house and the air quality just Lord Jesus help me, Lord. And so about 3 days ago, I woke up and it was like I had to gasp for air. Like, my chest is stinging, my nose is stuffy, and I am sick for the first time in years. And I want to talk about not only environment, but your health and environment. So, air quality is important. Okay. So, and the reason why I want to bring this up is because I knew this, but for me to get sick and to still be like eating pretty much my same diet, pretty much my same level of activity, it just really struck me like how important it is to cleanse your environment just as you cleanse your body. Because if you don't, then your body will suffer and you'll get sick. So there is particles in your air. There are even um not the particles are dust, but things like objects. If you have a house, right? And there's things everywhere. It actually makes it harder for you to think. So a lot of things went on when I came home, and I want to review, I guess, what was going on with me so that you can apply it to your life. So I moved from a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story house into a room in my mom's house. And I did this because I'm moving into a van. And y'all, I have way too much stuff. Okay. I have so much stuff. Okay. I'm moving from this house, and y'all, I threw away literally, I had 2 living rooms in my house. Okay. And one whole living room was piled full of stuff that I was like, I just have to get rid of it. And so I thought, I'm doing good, right? Like, I'm doing good. I have a whole side, a living room full of things I'm getting rid of. And now I'm downgrading to a room, and I'm like, I still have too much stuff. And so what is created is a situation where my room, and I don't have as much stuff as most people. When you go into my room, if you were to see my room right now, you'd probably be like, oh, it's a lot of space in here. Excuse me, y'all. But your environment can trick you, okay? Because before I moved into a room, I was in a house, and in my mind, I was a minimalist, right? Because everything was spread out. I don't do dressers, all these things. And the reason why is because the amount of things you have in your environment, it matters. Here's the thing that a lot of us miss, and it actually affects how healthy you are. When you have, even if it's organized, when you have a lot of things in your environment, when you wake up in the morning, your brain has to process every single thing in your path, right? Please excuse me. So I can't give you a great example because my van's empty. But say like I have this in my van right now, right? So say this is just in the corner. Every time I wake up and I pass this, my brain has to process it. So when I wake up, my brain has to process the dresser, the mirror, the clothes, the shoes, the book, the lights, my sound bowl. Um, I have candles up. I have money on my desk. Every time I wake up, when my eyes see what they see, my brain has to process it. Now, God is amazing. Okay, so He made us so complex that we could never even understand the depths of the complexities of our being. So, this is happening automatically in your environment. Okay, so your brain is processing it, and it's automatic, but it's still processing it. Now, why is this important? This is important because willpower, we don't have willpower throughout the day. We have a limited amount of willpower. So if you start out your day and you have this much willpower, your brain processing all of the things in your house can take your willpower here. All right. How that affects you in your health is that, imagine if, in order to go walking, in order to go to the gym, in order to do any physical activity to get your body to get your body movement, to get your body moving, you only have this much willpower left, right? Now, then when you go move to do movement, your willpower is here. So now you have this much willpower to try and eat something healthy. And you can eat something healthy or you could not, but with this much willpower, you're probably going to have a hard time making a decision to eat the salad rather than the fried chicken. So, excuse me. What I have found is that as I minimize my life, as I bring all the things in my environment out, my air quality improves. All right. And the reason why is because you have particles in your air, no matter how you live, whether you have cats, whether you don't. If you open up the window and it's springtime, you got, I was going to say flower sex particles because that's what I call them, but you have pollen particles in your house. All of this affects your air quality. So when you have more things in your environment, you're affecting your air quality, you're affecting your brain processing system, and you're affecting your willpower. All of these things coupled together are going to lend you very difficult results to get up and just live healthier, right? Because we all know what we need to do for the most part. We know that we should drink more water. We know that we should eat more fruit. We know that we should eat more vegetables. It's not rocket science to have a healthier life. But what happens is we, a lot of the times, don't have the capacity to make correct decisions, right? You're not crazy. You're not crazy. It's hard to healthy society. And one of the biggest reasons why is because we live in a society of consumerism. And your environment is a direct correlation of that. Okay? So excuse me, I am learning myself how imperative this is, because as I move from this house to this room, two major things shifted for me: the amount of items that are in my immediate vision when I wake up, and the air quality. Now, y'all, the air quality is big. All right. Air quality, and I will say sunshine because I'll kind of put that in with each other, but I'll talk about it and you'll know why. But air quality is so important. You have to breathe. So no matter what kind of environment you are in, make sure you're able to lift up a window, to open up a door, to turn on the fan and let the air circulate. I have a air purifier because I believe every household should have one. If you don't, you should look into it. But I have an air purifier and I use it in my current house, my living situation. But what I didn't know, because I'm in a new place and I'm not necessarily doing all the things that I would in my own house. So I used to just let my windows up and it was nothing, right? Like I just wanted to let the windows up. I didn't think any big deal of it. So moving here, I stopped letting my windows up. And I don't know why. It's like I do know why. Because a lot of times when change comes, we stop doing things intentionally, or when we start to do things, they're not intentionally, so they don't carry over into new environments. And I think for me, it was a little bit of both. So one of my biggest things right now is to be intentional about all of the things, right? Like to intentionally let the air in. And so I didn't think much of letting the air in. And when I started to get like stuffy, my first thought was, okay, let me let the window up and just air out the place. Just thinking nothing of it. Y'all, I'm talking about immediately there was a release in the air in my room. It's like a breath of fresh air. You know, like when you're struggling to breathe and you go outside and it's like, it was immediately a breath of fresh air. So this is a reminder in your environment to always allow yourself to let the windows up. Get fresh air into your environment. It's not only going to help your lungs, which you will feel that immediately, but what happens is all these particles, they get into your body, right? And the way that the body remedies particles is that it creates mucus to attach to the particles so that it can be expelled out of your body. That's why when we get sick, we get mucusy. So that is your body's way of fixing what's going on in your body. Is to create mucus and hopefully let it come up. So when you don't have air circulating, you have this particular thing going on with your lungs, right? So the particles come into your mouth or your nose, and they come into your lungs, and then your body's like, oh, this isn't supposed to be there. How are we going to make it leave? It forms mucus around it, and then it tries to expel it. And sometimes, depending on if your body, if it's not working right, which a lot of our bodies aren't, then your body will actually hold on to the mucus. Now, you'll know that this is the case if you always sound like you're kind of talking like this, right? Like, if this is like adorable voice, you probably have like mucus in your lungs. If you're always having a headache, a lot of the times when mucus can't move, it'll what's the good word? You know, like when you push mash up your thumb in something and it's like womp womp womp, that's your nerves like literally firing off. So when you have a headache, a lot of times it can be because you're inhaling particles that mucus is attaching to it and is not moving, and your extremities start to fire. So your head can be like womp 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 womp, right? And so it can create a terrible headache. I actually had one when I first got sick, and I hadn't had a headache for the first time. So I'm enjoying the sickness though. It's really interesting. So I'll go into that later. So that's what happens. And when this happens, you get the headache. What happens is your brain starts to fog. All right. So now you're not thinking clear, you're not breathing clear. Therefore, you are not clear. And in this state, you are now, okay, you don't got to be all up on me. Thank you. I don't know what that was flying, but he was like, okay. So when you're in this state, it is almost impossible to take care of yourself because, like I said, you're not thinking right. You can't breathe. It's like if you take something and suffocate it, right? Your fight or flight kicks in at this point. And so you're not thinking about all the cool steps that you need to take care of yourself. You're not thinking about making a smoothie. You're not thinking about going to get water because you're bogged down with mucus, with pain. It's a sucky situation. So this is literally all from particles settling in your environment. And this is why back in the day, our elders were so big on us dusting every week. Okay? Your grandma was not getting on your ass to clean up your house just because she likes stuff clean. It's because, and it's one of the biggest reasons why people are like, when you have a cleaner environment, you can think better. This is why. Because you don't have all of the particles in the environment, and literally your brain is clearer. So this is a lot of the reasons why old folks would be like, cleanliness is next to godliness, because in a holy state, in a godlike state, I say that because in a godlike state, you're clear. You can make discerning choices. You can make very good decisions. You are in a godlike state. You are God at that point. And so when you clean up your environment, when you dust, when you sweep, when you vacuum, and everything is clean, and you don't have these particles around you, you're now able to function in your godlike state. You're able to reach for the smoothie instead of the fried chicken. And you're not, like I said, you're not crazy. It's hard. It's really, really hard, guys, to make a good, healthy decision when your brain is bogged down. It's just, I won't say it's impossible, but I'm telling you, and I'm honest, right? Like, I don't eat dairy, and I don't eat meat. And I could see it as the days were going by, as the air was getting stuffier. I started reaching for different things. I started frying food a little bit more. I got an itch in my throat, and all I wanted was comfort. So where I sit from right now, I can look at myself, and I'm like, why, if you had an itch in your throat, did you want to fry eggplants to make vegan fish? Like, it doesn't make sense. But it's really hard to make a decision when your brain is cloudy and you can't breathe. When you're sick, that is when you're susceptible the most to make the most wrong decisions for yourself. So that's a real thing. And that's really why environment is so important. It's so important. So if your environment is not um, optimal, or maybe you can't control it because it's not yours, there's a few things you can do. Um, First and foremost, let up a window. Also, let the blinds up, because sun actually sanitizes. Fun fact: when you allow sunshine in your house, it actually helps to sanitize things. And so when you let the window up, you're letting the air circulate. Now, if you have a dust situation going on, or like you have dander going on, you're going to want to dust and clean before you let the fan on with the windows open. But you got to get the windows open, and then you got to get sunshine in. And then the third thing that you can do is organize. And when I say that, I don't mean just like take everything that you already have and like put it in a pile nicely, but like literally throw away some shit. Like, getting rid of things is one of the best forms of creating an environment that's just for you. And a lot of people don't really focus on this, but inanimate objects do have energy. Okay, so energy is neither created or destroyed. So it literally has to go everywhere. Okay, like it literally everywhere. So just as much as the trees have energies, like that teddy bear that your ex that you can't stand that's sitting in the corner, that has energy in it. And if you allow it to stay in your environment, you're actually allowing that energy to muddle in your space. When you throw it away, or I mean, I like to burn shit, okay? Like, I'm a burner. But burning allows for energy to transpire, I will say. It changes over, because like fire, right? The energy of fire, when you burn up some shit, it's like really I don't want to say volatile, but it's kind of volatile, right? But when the fire settles down and it goes into ashes, that's like one of the most nutritious energies you can have. And so fire will help transfer the energy from one thing to another. And that's why I love to burn. I love to burn shit. Um so you have energy in everything in your space. Everything carries energy. So clean up, but also throw away. And sometimes I know it's hard to hear, but sometimes that thing that you have an energy to, you don't need to give it to Goodwill. You need to burn the fuck out of it. Okay. And I'm just saying that because burning can transpire the energy. And some things in your space, the energy needs to transpire. You're holding on to things because you have energies intertwined in your environment that you don't even know about. So just burn it, like just get rid of it and burn it. So I am very careful a lot of the times what I give away, what I decide to throw away and what I decide to burn. Because some things that do have energy on them, I'm like, that's not even right for me to try to give to somebody. So be aware of that when you're clearing out your space. And then the fourth thing you can do is to put color in your space. Like, color is an amazing therapy. You can brighten up your whole entire life with a bit of color. And make sure that you're reaching for the colors that are bright and vibrant, like yellows, like maybe teals, like light whites, greens, things that will help you raise your energy and get the energy of the space up. It is a real thing. Okay, so insert all of those. If you only have, like, say you're staying at somebody's house and you're on the couch, or like you're staying in a room at somebody's house, or maybe you're at like a hotel, like whatever you're doing, if you cannot um control your environment in a macro way, change it in a micro way. Like, get rid of stuff is the best thing that I can tell you. Get some sunshine in there, open up the windows, get some air, and insert color in. Even if that means that every week you need to get your coins and go buy some fresh flowers. That alone, having life and the colors in your environment, will shift the energy and raise the vibration. Um, Smudging is also a great way to clear the energy and sanitize. You can use sage sticks. Um, True to our consumer ways, we are um, killing it with the sage, y'all. So it's hard. I always like to say try to source, responsibly, but it's really hard because you don't really know where it's coming from. I have started to burn resin a lot more. Resin is an awesome way to clear the air, especially if you have menthol. Menthol will clear the air. It'll open up your head. It'll get everything flowing, not only in your body but also in the air. And so those are great ways to clear out the energy, raise the vibration in your environment. And lastly, I really wanted to touch on why I'm so grateful to be sick. I have been back home for a little while, and being in an environment that is not set up specifically how I want, to be in a city that's not set up with the people that I exactly want, has been so amazing. I am so grateful that I have the tools. And what it is doing for me is bringing home that everything I need is within me. I didn't learn meditation so that when I moved, I stopped meditating. So what I wanted to touch on that, because know that wherever you are, whatever the environment is like, there are tools that you have inside of your heart, inside of your head, that will help you to not be so bogged down. Even if you are sick, give thanks. Even if your head is foggy, give thanks. And go inside and make sure that you're connecting and grounding yourself. And that will pull you out of any situation. It doesn't even matter what your environment is like. Because I know it sounds really good to talk about environment, but sometimes we just don't have control over our environment. So if that's you, make sure you know that you do have control over your inner environment. Keep your pieces, hold your peace. Wherever you are, have peace that surpasses all understanding, even yours, even in a fucked up environment. Okay? But if you can't control it, do so. Okay? Because it is important to your health. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. That is my Wellness Wednesdays talk, and I will see y'all next week. Toodles.